As a business owner, how do you plan your week to ensure that you're getting the right things done, the important things done, and not just running around all week, your hair on fire, putting out fires in your business? I want to share my strategy with you in this episode. All right, so I'm attempting to tackle a pretty big subject here, right? As business owners, we are in charge of a lot of different things, a lot of different people. In any given day, there might be 20 different types of things they're working on. Working long hours, we're slamming lots of coffee and energy drinks, and we're just doing whatever it takes to get everything done. And while I agree that hustle and kind of grind mentality is valuable at points in our career and our business, that is not long-term sustainable. And I know that because I've been running Contractor Dynamics for over 10 years, and I've gone through periods like that, and I've gone through periods where I have much more structure, and the way that I'm doing things now is much more sane, much more productive, and I personally and our team and our company are all experiencing way much more growth because of the structure that I have in place in my calendar and the structure that our team members have in place in their calendars as well. So it has been a game changer. We've actually been able to accomplish big priorities on a quarterly basis and get those things done, like big rocks that really move the business forward. We're able to systematically improve every area of our business on a quarterly basis. Sales, marketing, fulfillment or production for contractors, finance, operations, admin, communication, all of those different pieces get improved, maybe not 10x every quarter, but a little bit every quarter, and that makes our business so much stronger. And equally as important, we're able to get those things done while not grinding, while not working crazy hours, to where we have, and I have time, present time with my family to work out every day, to make sure that I'm getting proper sleep and proper food, and that I'm taking care of myself so that I can be the best leader that I can be for our team and everyone around me. So you might be tempted to say, I'm just trying to overcome some objections right here that you might be having in your head, because you might be saying, well, Joe, that might work for your personality because you're structured and you're disciplined and you're squared away and dialed in. And I'm an ADHD business owner, and you don't understand. I do understand. I am not ADHD myself. However, I work with a lot of people who are both on our team and our clients, and I totally get it, right? And I will also say that where I'm at now in terms of the structure I'm about to share, I wasn't born with that. I did not learn that in third grade. This has been an evolution of me intentionally focusing on this stuff every week, week in and week out. So here we go, guys. Let's dig into how I plan my week to ensure that I am as successful as possible. As an asterisk to this, it is not perfect. And also, it is not the only way. This is something that I have found that works for me. So if you see me as someone that is consistent, is structured, maybe not running around chaotically all the time, and you want to follow some of these things, want to follow all of these things, copy and paste everything I'm about to share with you into your life and business. Try it out. What I'm about to share is the results of a lot of trial and error, reading books, going through some course programs, looking at different entrepreneurs on social media, people that I follow and really kind of latch onto and vibe with. It's like creating your own recipes, take ingredients from here or there, things that kind of work for you, and you develop your own thing. So I can't talk about planning our week unless I zoom out a little bit to create some context for this, all right? So we need to have a clear vision for what we want in our businesses and our lives, as leaders. What do we want for a business? We have a crystal clear 3-year vivid vision for Contractor Dynamics, what our company looks like on December 31st, 2025. So currently that's about 2.5 years from now. We have that vision of what that looks like. I have a personal vision of what my week looks like, how many hours a week I'm working, what I'm doing during those hours, what I'm doing when I'm not working, what I'm doing with my family, the types of people that I'm hanging out with, the types of meetings that we have, how I feel on a regular basis, the type of sleep I'm getting, the workouts I'm doing. I have all that mapped out in kind of my ideal week, and that is something I'm working toward. So it's the Stephen Covey 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. One of those habits is start with the end in mind and then work backwards from there, reverse engineer from there. I believe that it's pretty impossible to actually plan your week if you don't know what that North Star is, if you're not starting with the end in mind, if you don't know where you're going. Was it Yogi Berra who said, if you don't know where you're going, you're going to end up someplace else? And I think that's very true. At the end of the week, we're going to end up somewhere, but is it like somewhere where we want to be? Is it strategic, or is it just like somewhere? Like, we got to be intentional about that. So we've got to zoom out and get clear on the vivid vision for our business, and then get crystal clear on our role in that business and in our lives in general. Zooming down a little bit, so like 30,000 feet, big vision. Let's go down to like 10,000 feet, where we have our annual goals and we have our quarterly priorities. So we as a company follow EOS, the EOS system for running our company. So it's very structured. We have our 3-year plan, we have our 1-year goals, we have our quarterly initiatives, our quarterly rocks. So everything is derived from there. Now, I'm not saying that you have to follow EOS or follow a system like that, although I do highly recommend some sort of system instead of just winging it. But we need that context of like, what are the annual goals that we have as a company? What are the quarterly priorities that we have as a company? Because those things are going to inform what we do on a weekly basis. How can I sit down here, at my laptop or, writing in my journal here, my notebook, and how can I plan out my week in terms of what I'm going to do and how I'm going to spend my time if I don't know what our annual goal is, if I don't know what our quarterly priorities are? I'm just going to like make up some random things based on what I might want to do, what I enjoy doing. So you might like selling, and your ideal week is selling every week. Well, that might be great if you have a team that can handle some of the other responsibilities. I love marketing. I love doing content. I could do it pretty much all week, but there are other responsibilities I have in my business right now that I do, even though I might not love to do those things. Those are priorities of the company. So just to use a quick analogy, because we're in football season right now, I'm recording this in September. Take Nick Saban, for example, Alabama football team. Nick is famous for focusing on the process. They have their goal of winning a national championship every year. That is the clear and obvious goal for that team. But Nick has talked about this in his books and in interviews I've heard him on, where they focus on the process. They drill down into the week and who's the opponent for that week. And in practice, they focus on that opponent. And then in the game, they don't focus on winning the game. They focus on one series at a time, one possession at a time. What is needed to win that possession, to score on that possession, every single possession. So they have the bigger goal, that 30,000 foot, win a national championship. They might even have that 20,000 foot goal of winning the SEC championship. And then they have their, 10,000 foot goal of winning that game that week. And then down on ground level, they're focused on winning one series at a time. And that is very similar to how I plan my week. So I like to emulate people that are operating at the highest level in their fields. And Nick Saban is absolutely one of those people. So I took a while to get into the actual nitty gritty of planning the week, because this context is necessary. If I started the video right here and said, hey guys, this is how I plan my week, do this, there's no context there. There's no why. There's no bigger picture. And guess what? This is hard. Planning your week is something that you're probably not doing right now, which is why you're watching this video, or maybe you're doing it, but you're not doing it really well. So in order to do something new and have that habit and discipline stick, we need to understand and really tie into that bigger why and that bigger burn of why we're doing this and why this is so important. All right. So without further ado, let's dig into how I plan my week for success. All right, guys, here's the nuts and bolts of how I plan my week. So I actually plan my upcoming week every Friday afternoon. So every Friday afternoon, I have a recurring meeting with my executive assistant and we plan out my next week. Now, I get that most of you do not have an executive assistant to help you go through this, but you can still put this in your calendar every Friday at 3 or every Saturday at 9 a.m., whatever it is for you. I used to do it on Sunday afternoons, and I was doing it maybe 70% of the time. I wasn't doing it near 100% of the time. And that's because on Sunday afternoons, especially in the summer, we're at the beach, we're hanging out in the pool, we're with friends. I'm not sitting down with my laptop necessarily, but I know that, I recognize that I wasn't getting it done every week. And then I was feeling anxiety Sunday night because I didn't have my week planned. I would spend the first hour of Monday planning my week, and then I would feel behind the whole day because I didn't have it planned. Now we've shifted to doing it Friday afternoons, and it has made a world of difference because I have that peace of mind going into the weekend that the week is already planned out, it's locked in, everything's in there, and I basically have to show up on Monday morning and do the work. So Friday afternoon, we do that. And what we do is I look at my quarterly rocks. So I'm not even looking at our, annual goals. I'm looking at my quarterly priorities that I am responsible for in Contractor Dynamics. And I make sure that I am working on those things every week. So in a given week, I have 3 priorities for Q3 right now, which we're in. So that's it. They're big, they're huge, but they're 3 things. Like they're not 17 things. So I want to make sure that I have time blocks in my calendar every week to get those things done. Now, priority A might only need a 2-hour time block that following week. Whereas with marketing, like restructuring our marketing department, which is one of my rocks right now, I have 10 hours every week blocked out in my calendar. I have 5 2-hour blocks of marketing time that I'm doing. Now, I get that you might not be doing that because you don't own a marketing company, right? Although marketing is important, you should have at least a few hours. But I have 10 hours a week that I'm focused on marketing every week. I might have 2 hours for priority A. I might have another 4 hours for priority B, okay? So those are my big rocks. They get put in my calendar, and those are color-coded green in my calendar because green in my calendar is my solo work that I'm doing. It's not meetings, it's not whatever else, it's my solo work. So those get put in my calendar first. And by the way, I use Google Calendar, which is awesome, syncs with everything, syncs with our team and all that. We use Google Workspace as a company. As a recurring events, like every week, every day, I have my morning routine, I have my workout time, I have my family time, which I eat breakfast with the family, get them off to school, the whole thing. And then I have like when I start my workday, I have like when I wind down my workday, when I go to bed. So like I have the bookends planned, the bookends of the morning and the evening. Those are just recurring events in my calendar. I don't need to get calendar reminders to like work out. It's just automatic at this point, but they're already in my calendar. I like to see that nice visual of everything color coded every day. So I can just, like I said, wake up and just rock and roll. So after those rocks are in the calendar, of course, I have all of those, any meetings that I have. And the meetings that we have internally at Contractor Dynamics, they're recurring meetings as well. So we have level 10 meetings every week. We have sales, we have marketing, we have leadership, and we have training, which is production. I'm involved in 3 of those. I'm involved in leadership, sales, marketing. Those are recurring events in our calendar every single week in a royal blue color. All the royal blue in my calendar are meetings. Outside of that, I might have some sales meetings. I might have meetings with clients. I might have other meetings that I'm doing. Those are already in the calendar. Beyond the scheduled meetings, the recurring meetings, if there are any people that were like, hey, let's talk next week, or let's meet up next week to talk about this project or this event or whatever it might be, and I will reach out to that person to get a time locked in on the calendar. It could be a 15-minute meeting, 30-minute meeting, whatever it might be. Don't make it longer than it has to be, just to catch up and talk about this particular thing, right? So get those in the calendar instead of like, hey, I'll call you Tuesday or let's touch base next week. In my world, that doesn't happen. If it's not on the calendar, it doesn't happen. I'm sorry. And if we reach out to someone to schedule a meeting, like let's catch up about this event or this webinar or this thing or whatever, and they don't respond, well, it's not going to get done that next week. It might get done the following week, but it's not getting done that week. Like that's plain and simple, black and white. And then another thing that I add in my calendar, this is color-coded yellow, is buffer times. People have my calendar link. There's meetings being scheduled all the time. I don't like back-to-back meetings all day. I need like a half an hour buffer to, take a screen break or take a break or eat lunch or whatever. I'm not one of those guys. It's like, man, you got to work for 12 hours a day and never take a break to get lunch, or I need to recharge my batteries and refresh and come back. I need to take those breaks. So I have buffers in my calendar. They're in yellow. And they're called buffer, where no one can like get in there and schedule an appointment or anything like that. So those are like, that's protected time for me. And that's also in case a meeting runs later than expected. I try to keep everything on time, but inevitably things go longer than expected, which is fine sometimes, right? And buffers allow for that. I used to not have these buffers in there, and then I would have back-to-back all day and all these things, meetings, solo work time, and I would get behind, 15 minutes, 30 minutes in the morning, and I'd be behind all day and it would stress me out. So those buffers kind of give you a little bit of a safety net in case things run over. And then beyond that, yes, I am human. I do have time. I have blank time in my calendar for things that might pop up, because that is business. And we run a small business. It's a service-based business, and things do pop up, whether it's internally, externally, or whatnot. So I do have white space in my calendar to be able to accommodate those things. I might be in the mood to shoot a video, or this video might be 20 minutes instead of 10 minutes. So I want to make sure I have some time in my calendar to do this sort of thing every week as well. So that's it. That's how I plan the week. Every Friday, it's locked in for the following week. So I'm shooting this video on a Friday morning right now. Later today, I'm gonna lock in my calendar for next week. And that just feels really good, because I know that I'm going to be working on those important things and also tending to those little things. But if our calendar fills up with those little things, there's never room for those big things. And I know that these important things in our business, it's not like we can work on them for like 20 minutes here and 15 minutes there, right? I've been there, tried that. You burn out because you're switching tasks. You're going from a sales call to working in a spreadsheet, and then a team meeting and talking to a team member, and then answering the phone call. And all this task switching is burning us out, and more than we realize. So I need to have those 2-hour blocks, those 4-hour blocks to really get that deep work done that really moves the needle. And on that note, this is how I plan my calendar. This is one big piece of it. The other big piece of it is holding myself accountable to actually doing what is in that calendar. And that is very difficult, surprisingly difficult, because of our noisy world today. I'll get into that in another video because that deserves its own episode, just to make sure we hold ourselves accountable. And then we have our team to hold us accountable as well. But that's it, guys. That's how I plan my calendar to ensure that I am getting the big things done each week. And do I follow my calendar 100%? No, I don't. I don't think there's a week this year where I've done that. But I'm probably at 90%, and that's better than, not having a calendar, not having it planned out, right? Things do come up. Life happens. There's family, there's kids, there's travel scenarios, there's clients, there's team members, there's things take longer than expected. All sorts of things come up. But having this structure enables me to operate in a way that I'm getting about 90% of my calendar done every week and moving that ball forward on a consistent basis. And I'm doing that without burning out. And at the end of the day, I still have good energy so that I can go be present with my family, which is huge for me. So let's wrap it up, guys. If you have any specific questions on this, feel free to comment below. Feel free to reach out to me personally on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Head on over to my website at josephhughes.co, and I can answer any questions that you have specifically on how to win the week and just really set yourself up for more success, all right? Thanks for tuning in. If you have found this valuable, I would appreciate subscribing, sharing this with someone, taking a screenshot, sharing it in your social media stories, whatever. Let's get the word out because this has been transformational for me, and I want to help you transform as well. And maybe you can pay it forward and help some others get out of their own way and transform as well.